Hello there, beautiful beings, and welcome to my sacred space. My name is Raven, and thank you so much for being here. This is the first time that I purchased a deck that I already have. Well, at least in essence, because I already have the original version or the independent version of the This Might Hurt Tarot. I'm probably gonna do a comparison video within the next couple of weeks. But for now, this is going to be our focus. So this is the This Might Hurt Tarot Mass Market Edition by Isabella Rotman. And this deck is picked up by Liminal 11. I kid you not, I'm so excited. The first time that I saw this one on Amazon, and I remember it was still on pre-order. It was still a couple of months away. I was just so excited. Well, I'm gonna do the comparison like I told you, but it looks so different. So this is super duper fresh to my eyes. So anyway, so this deck, like I said, is picked up by Liminal 11. Liminal 11 is kind of like this edgy new publication company of tarot decks and publishing house, and they have produced a number of exciting decks. Like the first one that I have is the Modern Witch Tarot, and you know what, initially when I purchased this, I'm not sure if I actually proceeded with the video, but I wanted to do a comparison between the This Might Hurt Tarot and the Modern Witch Tarot, just because I feel like they have the same vibe. I don't think if I ever went ahead and shot that video, but okay. Ooh, okay. Oh, by the way, I always forget this part, so I'm so sorry, but if you were just here to have a look at the images of this deck, go ahead and check my description box below. It should have the timestamp, and you can just jump to that part, because in this channel we do talk about the packaging, the guidebook, and everything else. Okay, so this is a strength card. Obviously, I love the colors. You know, one thing that I noticed in the independent deck is the background. It's not like a one color background of, like, let's say cyan, and it's cyan all over, right? This one, or at least the artist, made it so that it's kind of like lifelike. Do you know what I mean? Like if you look outside right now, and if perhaps it's sunset, you can see that, you know, there are two different colors, or maybe three, like orange, a little bit yellow, and then purple, right? Because I don't know, it's just very beautiful, and I think that Isabella Rotman was able to capture that in the sceneries of her deck. So I'm so keen to see if that is also here, but I'm seeing that already. Like, as you can see, the color is still there, you know, the gradient is there, and I have super high hopes for this deck. Alright, so in the back it says, the This Might Hurt Tarot is a modern deck in the Rider-Waite-Smith tradition, keeping time-honored symbolisms and imagery, but losing the medieval context. This deck is designed to be easy to read and highly relatable. Images are modernized, diversity is embraced, and creaminess is lovingly acknowledged. Oof, I love that. Okay, let's have a look. Oh my, that is so pretty. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful. I know, I mean, it's just so strange that I am like super giddy about this when it's basically the same thing, but it like the way that it's designed in this deck is astonishing. Look at that, it's so gorgeous. I'm not sure if you can see from the insides, but yes, basically it's the same. It's like the pomegranate. Anyway, I'm gonna set this aside very carefully, and I love that they still do this, the magnetic flap at the bottom, because it is so very important. In the very first Liminal 11 deck, the Modern Witch Tarot, it doesn't have a flap, so it's basically just this. So when you pick it up, you know, it kind of like slides down, and I really don't like that packaging. I'm gonna make sure it's still captured in this oh, let's put it here, okay, so that we can still see it. All right, so let's move on. Ooh, I can see. Okay, so this one obviously doesn't have any edging, so that's one thing that is different from the independent version. But let's, oh my gosh, Oh my gosh, my mind is blown. That is so gorgeous. That is so gorgeous. Okay, so let me just calm down. I'm gonna throw this thing. I don't need it, I don't want it. And then you have the guidebook. Okay, so this is where it's different. Okay, so Liminal 11 decks would normally have a, let me try to pull one so that I can show you guys. So a Liminal 11 deck would usually have, so this is the Luna Soul Tarot, and it does have the carrying box. And then all of the guidebooks of all of my Luna Soul Tarot would have this packaging. So this is the hardbound book. It is cute, you know, it's fancy, but can you see the thickness of just the front and back cover? Those could have been pages, but I think they were following a theme of some sort. I don't know, because so far all of the decks that I got from Liminal 11 have this guidebook, except for this one. And I'm so excited because the original or the independent version of the This Might Hurt Tarot has a fantastic guidebook. I swear, there are lines there that would be super relatable to you and to the character. So this is something that the character might say, might think. So basically that line relates to the actual card. So I'm gonna check if it's also here, but let's have a look at the book. Oh, you have the Fool over here. So it is quite thick. I am very tempted right now to do the comparison video, but I'm just gonna stop myself because I do want to create another video for that. I just want to focus on this one, so I have to stop myself. Anyway, I have cat hair here, so okay, so it is colored. Nice. Okay, here, this edition by Liminal 11 at 2023. Okay, so the first one is at 2019. So you have the table of contents here. You have the forward. Okay, who's Melissa Sinova? Oh, so I think, okay, so I'm just guessing, you know, we're looking at it together at the same time. So I'm guessing that Melissa Senova wrote the foreword for Isabella Rotman. I mean, this is not the first time that I've seen that in a tarot deck or a tarot guidebook. I believe Reza Robertson, who created the Mermaid Tarot and several other decks published by Llewellyn, has done that for other creators. But yeah, I just wanted to say. Okay, so you have the introduction here. Of course, I won't remember if it's the same thing. Probably is, but on Gender and Tarot, I love that there. The Major Arcana, and then immediately the meanings. So you would have a full-sized representation of the card and the meaning. Okay, well, let's see. Alright, I love that it's colored, so you can immediately see how the scenes look like, even the colors. Oh, she doesn't have the lines that I was telling you about. It's not here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, so nothing here. Let's check out. Okay, so this might hurt, this might heal. Ooh, okay, so they have an additional card. That is amazing. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so this deck has an extra card, and that is an advantage because the independent deck doesn't have that. So this is the specific card. This might hurt or this might heal. A girl and a wolf cycle between tender affection and a difficult struggle. In the upright position, the girl tenderly holds the wolf. In the downward position, the girl and the wolf are locked in a desperate battle. The figures are cyclical, with the four symbols of the minor arcana in the corner suggesting that struggle and peace are temporary positions in a never-ending cycle. Ooh, interesting. But you know what? I don't want to live a life wherein when I'm happy, I'm going to think, oh, I'm happy right now because later I'm going to be sad. So that's something that I don't want to kind of like imbibe. Do you know what I mean? Like if I'm happy, I want to be happy all throughout. And although I know that life is not like that, you know, it's something that I would want to expect so that I will attract more of that energy Do you know what I mean? Instead of like being happy right now, being super happy, being happy, like my energy is rising and all of that, and I'm grateful and just beaming with joy, and then all of a sudden I'll think, oh, not everything is happy in life, and then that's gonna trigger it. I'm gonna cut whatever amazing positive energies are coming my way. I'm gonna cut that cord because my energy shifts and I'm expecting negativity or I'm fearing negativity, and in the end I'm going to expect it. Okay, well, thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Let's move back to the guidebook. So the minor arcana, you have like meanings or descriptions of each of the suits, and then you have the numbered cards, and then the court cards, and then you have, oh, okay, so immediately onto the meanings. Well, basically she doesn't have like a representation of the card, but in the background you can see like a section or a part of the actual card. So the Three of Wands is actually this girl who has like who's looking outside, right? Oh, so she still has it. Huh. Okay, now I'm curious. One second. Okay, I apologize. I said earlier that Isabella Rotman's independent guidebook has lines that kind of like summarizes the page or the cards, right? It wasn't really like a line that's being said or like a quotation mark or something. I think that's from a different deck. I don't remember which one, but I know I have that in another deck, but I kind of like misremembered. What she has in this deck is like a short phrase, not really a keyword, but a short phrase that will make it easier for you to remember what the meaning of a specific card is. Like, for example, Three of Wands, and we have the intern. What do you know about an intern? An intern is someone who's, no longer in college. This is a person who's already starting or beginning her career. And so this person is getting the experience that they need to move forward. And as an intern, you're kind of like absorbing everything. You're not really like super not knowledgeable about something, right? Because you learned about it in college or in school. But as an intern, you're kind of like in between. You know a little bit and you're expecting to learn more, and you're kind of like you're wanting to grow and expand, and by that you're kind of like expecting that energy, expecting growth, expecting like a good opportunity in the future for you in this field that you're working on. I hope I'm making any sense. But anyway, you have that. And then, for example, like the Five of Wands, just to make it very, very simple, the pointless conflict card, right? So, Four of Cups, the too busy self-reflecting to take the dang cup card. So, those lines, it's still here. So, that's really cool that it's still here. My apologies earlier for providing somewhat of a false information, but anyway, moving on. So each of the minor cards would have that, okay? Like, that's how it looks like. You still have a lot of information. In the back part, she has how to read the tarot, performing your reading, and then those are your instructions. You have reverse card meanings. In general, you have tarot spreads. So you have several different spreads here, and then special things. Bibliography and recommended resources. I love that she has that also here. And that's it. So, before I move forward, right, what is the difference between an independent deck and a mass market deck? Well, I'm pretty sure most of you know already, but just for others who might not be familiar with it, maybe they're just starting, maybe this is the first video they're seeing about tarot, right? So, just for anyone's information, the difference between an independent deck and a mass market deck is the way that it was published, and also the cost. I would have to say that, right? Because that's also one of the main differences. For example, I really don't remember how much I purchased the independent deck for, but maybe above $50, around that area. I really don't remember. But basically, an independent deck, by the name independent, these are decks that are produced by the actual deck creator or the author or the artist, right? So this person poured out their creative juices into this specific project, like a passion project, and they funded it, essentially. So they funded it, they produced it, they printed copies of it, they started selling it, and voila, that is an independent deck. Now, the reason why independent decks are a lot more expensive than mass-produced deck has a lot to do with the production. So major publishing companies such as Hay House or Llewellyn or Liminal 11 would have the machinery, the logistics essentially to mass produce decks. So it's going to be easy for them. This is their business. This is what they do. As opposed to an independent creator who's just starting off, this is something fully believe in. I'm going to produce it, right? So the cost is a little bit higher. This person doesn't know if there are people who will purchase their decks and whatnot. Perhaps they're not expecting a lot of ROI or return of investments. They're not going to produce as many decks, right? But yes, I think I'm blabbering, but yes. So yeah, the cost is more expensive, and at the same time, independent decks have the freedom to add fancy add-ons like this one. Anyway, okay, so with mass-produced decks like this one, of course, it is done by Liminal 11, and you know what? Liminal 11 produces wonderful cards. I don't have like huge complaints. I mean, out of all the Liminal 11 decks that I have here with, varying finishes, like I have matte decks, I have glossy decks, I think the first one is kind of like the mist, just because it's so thick and so slippery. So the Modern Witch Tarot, I just really find it difficult to shuffle and whatnot, but all of the succeeding Liminal 11 decks that I have loved so far. So, okay. Before I flip this over, I just wanted to show you the difference between the independent version and the mass-produced version. As you can clearly see, this one is glossy, this one is not. Another thing you saw earlier that this one is edged. Mine is edged in jet black. Other variations would have pearl edging. I just prefer the black one. So this one also has amazing paper, I tell you. I'm not even sure if it's paper, but it is kind of like plasticky. It's elastic. It bends. It's just a wonderful paper. The thickness is amazing. This one is paper, like paper, just laminated. I'm not saying that it's not good. I mean, for the price that I paid for this deck, this is automatically an awesome deck. It's just that you can see the difference, and it's not super weighty. So there is clearly a difference between a mass-produced deck and an independent deck, but it just all boils down to your preference. Okay, so as you saw earlier, the size is the same. So I'm not even going to pull out another tarot deck for you, just because we already know that this is your typical tarot deck size. The edges, I wanted to mention also that the edges are very, very fine. It's super smooth. There's no way for me to get any splinters here or a paper cut. It is beautifully done. So I love that. I just wish it's edged, but it's okay. It's okay. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that you can see better the images. I'm going to set that aside. So in this deck, you would have borders, right? But you know what? It doesn't take away from the full image. In fact, it kind of like frames it. So I really do like it. I also love the font that she used. It seems like it has everything exactly the same. If anything, I feel like this is a little bit more colorful. Colorful. Sorry. Just because this is a glossy deck, and this is something that I've noticed and mentioned in like most of my reviews, that a glossy deck or glossy decks actually show the color a little bit more brighter, right? Okay, well, I'm gonna put on some music and we are gonna start. Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful souls, my friends, there you have it. That is the This Might Hurt Tarot deck by Isabella Rotman, the mass market edition. It is gorgeous through and through. It looks very similar to the independent version, just different in the quality of the paper, but and of course like a little bit on the color just because the other one is matte and it's not as vibrant as this one, but either one of these is truly a gem. So I'm so happy that I have two versions of this amazing deck. Like, I am still in awe every time that I look at the images of this deck because it's just super duper relatable. It is stunning. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Let's try to shuffle this one and see how well it performs. Performs amazing. Oops, there you go. So that is something that will happen in an independent deck. Not to say that it doesn't happen in like mass market deck. Not to say that it doesn't happen with independent decks. It does, but I just feel like it's a little bit more prone for or with mass market decks. But anyway, let's try to shuffle it this way. Yes, it shuffles wonderfully. I am really trying not to grab the other deck just to show you because I do want to make a separate video for that. But yes, so for anyone who's interested to see the independent deck version, I'll put an eye over here so that you can check out my review of that one. But if this is like the first time you're checking out this specific deck, this is amazing because like I said, it is very, very relatable. Like, you can clearly see the, well, not the Wheel of Fortune, but you can see the scenes like this one, badass girl in a in two motorcycles. I think is really cool. What else? I love how she has like a theme, right? So if it's wands, you would have the same fire orange theme going on there, right? If it's a different suit, so for cups, it's like bluish, purple, a little bit greenish, right? Major Arcana doesn't have like a specific background because of course they have their own like specific feel or vibe per Major Arcana card. See the bluish, purplish color there. For Eight of Swords, or sorry, for Eight of Swords, like for the sword suit, you would have like not really deep green, but it's kind of like greenish grayish, hang on. So the colors in the background allude to the energy that the actual cards are showing or are giving, right? I think we're missing one. We are? Are we? Hang on. So pentacles are kind of like this light yellow, just like that. Okay? So, okay, I'm trying to give like the same review, but I think it is amazing because like the detail in her cards are still there. As you can see the dots, the small dots happening. I love that the deck is super duper diverse. This is an amazing new card. The High Priestess is still so stunning. As you can see, like there is diversity in the color, and then also we saw like of course the age differences. It's still there. The characters here are not all pretty and all handsome. Like it shows real human characteristics, and I think this is super lovely. Like the King of Cups that they chose, they could have chosen like a macho king, someone who's like Pedro Pascal, but they used an old man on a boat on the sea to show that this is the King of Cups. And I think it's super cute. I think it's amazing that everyone is well represented in this deck. Like they have people of like different backgrounds, different ethnicities, so still the diversity is spot on. I love it. I love this deck. Let's discuss the backing. I think it's beautiful because Isabella Rotman kind of like employed the same scale on the background of each of the images. Like for example, this one, it has the gradient vibe, and I think it's so beautiful. It's symmetrical. The colors are just so stunning. It's so calming. I feel so peaceful. It just makes me want to read the tarot and consult my guides and talk to the universe and talk to myself and, my intuition, right? I don't know. I'm rambling. I'm just going on and on and on. But basically, that is it. Like the images are just so beautifully well done. It is super relatable, and I love the modern vibe of it. Legit. So anyway, that is it. That is my review. I hope you learned something from my review. I feel like I was just gushing all throughout. Like I said, if you're interested to see the other or the independent deck version, I'm gonna link it in my description box below as well so that you can just click on it. And I'm going to do, I promise, I promise to do a comparison video between this one and the independent version, a little bit more in depth, okay? That is it, you guys. Leave your comments below if you have any questions. I'll do my best to respond to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for being here. I would like to ask that you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It will really help me out in the algorithm. And there you go. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.